Thanks, everybody. So we're here before our regular meeting to have a public hearing to consider an ordinance amendment, section 929 of the town code regarding standing fields committees. We will have we'll start with the audience. We have anyone from the audience who is interested in commenting on this amendment. I can read it if that would help, probably would. So the ordinance to amend 929 is the Standing Fields Committee was established by authority of section 412C of the town charter for the purpose of implementation of the town master plan for any improvement of town and school playing fields. As such may be amended and restated from time to time. The committee shall consist of 5 voting members appointed by the Board of Selectmen for 4-year terms. 1 member shall be a representative from the Board of Education. Parks and Rec Director shall be a non-voting member who shall serve as a liaison to the committee. Terms shall be staggered. There shall be 2 alternate members of the committee serving 4-year terms. Any such alternate member shall, when seated, have all the powers and duties of a member of the commission. The committee shall conduct regular meetings at least quarterly, potentially less. So it's less members down to 5 plus 2 alternates and an opportunity to reduce the total number of meetings. So with that, does anyone in the audience or online have any comments that they would like to make regarding this potential ordinance change regarding standing fields committees? Would
you like for me to raise my hand, or what should I want me to
do? You've just made it. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please, and name and address.
Okay. The name is John Jagelski, 110 Round Hill Road. I served as the liaison from the Parks and Recreation Committee for 8 years to the Standing Fields. I feel that the mission of the Standing Fields is important. It's probably evolved over time as everything has evolved. Probably the biggest thing is volunteerism, trying to find people who would want to man this board. I think from a structural point of view, 5 members would probably be more than sufficient to review the safety and improvements that would be necessary to follow up on the fields. I used to be the fields guy on the Parks and Rec Commission. That was my major emphasis for the years that I was there, and spending the time with the parks and with the Standing Fields, we would come up with improvements and safety ideas and pass them back up the channel to Parks and Rec, who would then try to implement them, or if it needed budgetary improvements, then that would be submitted for later for the standing regular annual budget. I think right now the Parks and Rec has a fantastic fields supervisor in Anthony Anicelli. He is very, very conscious about keeping the grounds properly maintained. I think over time there still needs to be some citizen involvement with regard to the fields because they are used so exclusively. And I can tell you that one of the hallmarks of Guilford along the shoreline is that when visitors come into town to play sports, whether it be baseball, lacrosse, football, whatever, they always remark as to how well maintained our fields are and how beautiful they are. So that is something that has taken a long time to emerge into that aura of good feeling right now, and that's something that we should not backtrack from. With regard to the actual committee, my personal opinion is 5 is enough. I think that the member of the Parks and Recreation Committee who is a member should have voting capacity rather than just being a liaison, because the Parks and Recreation Committee has a little bit more emphasis as to what can be implemented and what cannot be implemented. I would also feel that if you're going to go from a meeting standpoint, that you should go from a monthly meeting to a semi-monthly meeting, or no, I'm sorry, bi-monthly, whatever it is, once every other month. I think once a quarter would remove some of the ability for things to be done on a quickly basis, because you would now have an additional 30-day lag time before anything would be brought up before the Board of Parks and Recreation Board for action. So rather than suggesting a quarterly, I would suggest a every other month meeting schedule. That's really my feelings behind it. I do believe that there is a need for it, but the hard part, as with most situations here in town, you got to find volunteers to step in and be proactive and qualified. Paul Schmidt has been the most qualified individual that we've had. He's been there since the inception. He's been there through all the good parts and the bad parts that we had with the problems with the synthetic fields that we had at the high school. He was very instrumental in keeping the focus of the town and protecting our interests and assets, that we were able to get a very successful remedy out of that. So we need to find people like that who be willing to invest the time to be part of it. So that's my position right there. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Let's see if anybody else from the public. Thank you, John, for all that and for many years of good work. Deb.
I have a question for John.
You might as well sit down anyway.
Okay. John, this is Sandy Ruoff. So currently I'm sorry if you said this already, the committee meets 12 times a year, every month?
They are scheduled to meet 12 times a year, every month. That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Now let me put a caveat behind that. I have not been on the Parks and Recreation Commission since February of 2024. If changes have been made during that time, I am not aware of them. But it was originally scheduled to be every month. That's correct.
So Pam, is that the case right now?
Yes. Since I've been here, it was monthly meeting, but what we ran into is that the fields are in such good shape that most of the time we didn't have much to talk about. And then of course our John Kennedy was stepping down. He's been on a very long time, and I agree with your comments that, Paul Schmidt, we have some really good people on the committee. However, it just felt like the content had just dropped. We lost our secretary, so that happened too. And sometimes not having a quorum. So I think at the end, they felt that maybe quarterly would be a good move to stay involved and check in. And maybe, depending on what your feelings are, maybe we go through 2026 quarterly. And then if that's just not enough, we take the suggestion of every other month. But it just seemed like people weren't showing up. We'd come in and there'd be 3 people. And
so this is sorry, Pam.
So I guess if you went from 12 seems like too many. I guess if you go to 4 and you needed to have a special meeting, you could always call one too.
Yes.
Because I just thought that was kind of, I thought maybe John's suggestion of 6 was correct, but I take it back. 4 sounds fine as long as you would deal with whatever if you had to in between.
Because I think the bottom line is we're between Anthony and Tony and myself. We're always checking in. So if there's problems, we know about it. And if we need additional help, it's great to know that we can call upon the committee to meet.
I was going to say that the ordinance change is suggested as at least quarterly, no less than quarterly. So every other month can certainly be acted on by the committee as business dictates. And you can vary. If the winter months are slower, whatever, as long as you meet quarterly.
I'm wondering, did the current committee members all discuss this, and is everyone in agreement that that this would be fine? Okay.
Yes. And also, I think with the secretary position, we lost that too. So I don't know how Board of Selectmen feels about. Certainly we could put it out there to find someone for four meetings a year, but.
It's just shaking his head. Yes.
That shouldn't be a problem.
No, I don't think that would be a problem. If that's the direction that, again, to invite the necessary people to be there, that the importance of a quarterly meeting, The only thing I would be concerned about is the lag time. If that is something needs to be acted upon, you now have let's say you have a meeting, a quarterly meeting in January. Okay, you table the suggestion until April. Then you send it forward to Parks and Recreation, which probably won't get it until May or June. And then Parks and Recreation may not have it on their agenda until maybe June or July. So now you're looking at a potentially of a 6-month window of inactivity of where a resolution or recommendation will be dormant.
I have a question, John. Were you ever able to get 9 members, or have you
No.
always struggled to get the full 9?
Well, we struggled to get the 9, and even I struggled to get there myself because I'm still working full time, and it just 9 members was probably a little too much. 7, 5 with 2 alternates. The alternates wouldn't be, what's the word I'm looking for, seated unless one of the primaries were not there. So then the alternates wouldn't show up. So it was just a it was just a hard and like Pam said, if there was nothing on the agenda, then it's sort of like, again, okay, why are we here? Let's and if you didn't have a quorum, that made it even further of an issue. But I really think that there's still a need for it, just to make sure that there's awareness. The amount of fields that are being used right now by all the sports teams really requires somebody else than just Anthony and his crew, because they're focused on what their daily job is. Just to have somebody to, now I've tentatively created that position for myself because I like to walk my dog along all the parks in town. And whenever I find something that it looks like that might be something where an improvement, I just send an email to Anthony, I copy Pam on it, and lo and behold, Anthony gets his crew out there to work on it. So a committee of 1 sounds like fun, but it has its it has its issues as well. So, but I don't think, I want to reiterate what Pam had said is that the focus of the grounds crews and Anthony and his crew, the fields are in a marvelous shape. The things that are just needed to be done are just little ragged things around the edges that would take maybe an afternoon or maybe a couple days to fix. But and for an overall rating of them, I would say the fields are in Class A condition. So that includes the high school fields and the Board of Education fields, because Parks and Recreation does the maintenance on those as well.
If I can also
John, the
add
feedback
something.
I got is that you have been instrumental in monitoring the fields, and that's been a great service. I was also told in some past history that some of the members have done some fundraising to help improve the fields. And I think the only cost to the town is the secretarial work.
As far as I know, yes, by town charter, we had to pay a secretary, a recording secretary.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Pam. I just wanted to make a comment.
Oh, that's
real quick.
okay. I just also would add that I think where the committee could be very important would be with capital improvement suggestions. So if we did stick with a quarterly, that's where those type of things, when we do field walks, subject behind maybe we want another turf field, that this committee can have a good, healthy discussion on things like that, the pros and cons of those things. So I think capital improvement in the fields would be very helpful with the committee.
And to reiterate what Pam had said there, one of the things that the Fields Committee did was that they did a semi-annual fields walk. They would get together on a Saturday morning and they would just walk the fields and take down notes. And then that information was passed on to Parks and Recreation. And then Parks and Recreation would act or react to it based upon what their scheduling would be like. And the extra set of eyes of people just looking around saying, well, why is it this way? Or why could we do this better? That was just another avenue to make the fields as good as they are.
Okay. Before we get back to the audience online, we have someone here who has a comment or question, I believe. Deb?
So I'm on boards and commissions for the RTC, so I'm just wondering how this all works. I don't think I've ever been involved when there's been an ordinance amendment to a board or commission. So say you have 10 people on here now. I don't think it's really up to date because it does have John still as being a representative from Park and Rec.
That's true.
So I'm not sure who is the representative from Park and Rec now, because this is not correct, the listing. So I'm not even sure how much of this is correct. But I have Alan Colin, Chip Norwin, Mark Donovan, Todd Williams, Paul Schmidt, Vice President, Tom Persante, John, Rick Maynard, and John Kennedy, who you just said stepped down, and Paul Scarpa. And then there are 3 alternates. But if there are more than 5 right now on the standing fields, how do we go to 5? I would like to know because that involves my participation. So I don't know if that's a question I ask now or I wait.
Without a doubt, it's a public hearing. That's what we're here.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how does that work then?
We don't have the answer necessarily.
Okay.
This is information gathering.
Okay. So I would like to know how that would work. I would like this list completely updated if it's not, because as Pam said, John Kennedy stepped down. He's still on here. And Paul Schmidt, he's vice chair. Is he chair now? So no. Okay. So who is the chair?
We haven't met since then.
Okay.
Paul and John went to meet with town selectmen, and then it came to the Board of Selectmen.
So are any of the people that I did mention no longer on here? Like, even though if John's not the representative for Park and Rec, is he still on the standing fields? No. Okay.
I am not.
Okay.
No, Mike Moretti is the Park and Rec liaison.
Okay. Okay. So, and then Adam Colin, Chip Norwin, Mark Donovan, Todd Williams. Do we know if they are?
That sounds correct. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty big group, but I can certainly get you that current list.
That would be great. That would be really helpful. And then I would like to know how we narrow it down then. What is in consideration for narrowing it down? That would
No
be
one's
helpful.
discussed that.
Okay.
That's a great question.
Okay.
I'd also just kind of want to clarify that this is a committee versus a commission. And to the
Okay.
extent that that's significant, we can get Peter Barrett to comment on that. But if somebody needs that distinction, we can bring that up. If we're discussing the actual.
Right. And that would be but it also would be a 4-year tenure and then reapproval, or how would that work?
That's what it says.
Right. That's what I think you said.
4-year terms. I suspect, as with all these things, there's there's two
Yes.
term sort of age out.
Right.
2-term limit.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But we'll clarify all that. Great point. Anyone else online?
No.
Okay. Anyone else in the audience? No, thank you. Anything from the board? Good. Okay, fabulous. I would move to close the public hearing. We need a motion. Let's go through it for the formality of
Second.
it. Thank you. All in favor of closing the public hearing? Aye. All right, thanks, everybody. So we'll get to our public meetings. Our regularly scheduled meeting, start with the statute.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent. Going to open with public forum, and I would point out Mr. Goldblatt has brought a student from Muhlenberg College. So introductions and welcome.
Thank you. Darren Schlossberg is visiting today and doing a little shadowing, and very first thing is to come see the Board of Selectmen in action.
All right, welcome. Does anyone have any questions or comments? No. Any issue on the agenda for public forum? 3 minutes. None in the audience. Anything online?
No,
No, everybody good? All right, thanks, everybody. Can we get a motion to approve the minutes from the December 15th regular meeting?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments, corrections? Sounds good, Brendan, thank you. All in favor of approving the December 15 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is the discuss and take action on the ordinance that we heard, section 929. I'd like to make a motion to table that. Matt's not here. There's a couple of people who were mentioned, important folks from the committee, I didn't say in commission too, from the committee, that may want to be heard. I'd just like to table this to make sure we get all the necessary input from everybody, and not to mention responding to the questions that we heard on public forum.
I would second that.
Okay. Any questions or comments on the motion to table? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So Guilford Health Department. Morning.
Barney, are you?
Pretty good.
Do I read what is written, or do you guys have that in your packet?
We have the attachments on. Yeah, I'll just say it's to take possible action to approve an additional 68,576 for a town center groundwater study.
Correct. So it's an additional funding. We had approved it last year and we had done some testing on it. What it is looking at the groundwater, the rise and the fall, looking at conditions of the soils. One of the things that we found is there is a strong correlation to intense rainfall as well as to the rise of groundwater. We also did a lot of testing of nitrogen and some others, phosphorus and a couple other parameters. But what we did find in some of the areas is excess amounts of nitrogen, up to 33 milligrams per deciliter in certain areas. The additional part of the study is to check the other side of the town, St. George's parking lot. The first area that we touched, that we did test on, we have 2 monitoring wells there and 2 on the green. The 2 over there that we found was when the groundwater came up, it was a bit of a lower elevation. So we had groundwater almost to 2 feet below the surface of the ground, which would make a system extremely expensive. So now we're trying to check the other side of the parking lot. Part of this study, though, is to actually see the capacity of how much we can actually put in there.
And what's it put in there?
For the gallons per day. So for the area that's in question right now is the area where, I don't want to say like restaurants, but like Prime and Chipore's and all that. They have systems there that are not performing.
Septic system.
Septic system, sorry. Yes, sorry. I'm the sewage person, sorry.
All right.
Septic systems, correct. So we are checking to see how much capacity, meaning the areas in that section, which is like salons, you have a lot of high intense and strong wastewater in that area. And it's been there that way in that kind of configuration since the 18th, 19th century. So these properties are grandfathered in. And so we now have a situation 2 years ago where we had intense rainfall. And so a couple of the business owners came to Matt, we discussed it, and we were seeing a lot of issues. Last year, we didn't have as many intense rainfalls, but this year, I already got called last weekend about a system breaking out over there that I'm meeting with next week. So it does look like it is a very, very strong correlation to intense rainfall and the rising of the groundwater in certain areas in the town center that is affecting our sewage systems.
Yeah, I was going to ask you some questions. I think what we're looking at today is an increase for the contract, right? And it's based on the new testing.
Correct.
And I was curious, who's ordering the new testing? How did that come about?
We work with Verdontis and Mark Lancor, who is the head engineer over at Dymar. Dymar does a lot of AT systems, a lot of advanced technology, alternative treatment systems. So when we originally asked them, we asked Mark Lancor to come meet with us. Then they were asked to do, Verdontis is a hydrological, I know I'm going to say this wrong, I'm sorry, but they study the hydrology of water and the geography of it. And they're the ones who said when we were doing the study of it, they came and met with us briefly saying, okay, well, we have groundwater up to here. We do have a semi-report that's not completed yet because we need to decide. And in that report, it was a strong suggestion to add the other test wells where we have a higher elevation, we have more room. And we have a system that's already there that could potentially be tied into this system.
Are they adding new wells or are they
Yes.
sticking to the original 4? Because I thought this was the testing for nitrogen and other trace elements in the water.
So yes, so there's it's not just nitrogen, it's also about the groundwater rising and falling. So right now
Okay.
we only have those 2 monitoring wells behind the area that's in question, and we have 2 on the green. We didn't think we were going to have to go over to the right-hand side. We tried not to because it isn't a property. We are talking to the church about it. But unfortunately, the area that we found is just, it's not going to work financially first because it's bringing a lot of fill in and it would be a very, very high system, which is why they recommended putting 2 groundwater wells on the other side of the property to see the depth and how high it gets in their highest rainstorms or what's the time of year.
Okay, given what we've seen so far, is the feasibility of a 10,000 gallon system or 15,000 gallon system sort of out of the question already, or?
Just in that side of the area, it could potentially be using both sides at this point. One of the things that Mark Lancourt does from Dymar is the feasibility study of the financial part too. So even if that could have taken the area a certain amount of gallons per day, then that other area will give you a lot more capacity. But this particular area, groundwater is so high that it would be a very, very elevated system. So part of this is cost comparison. A fill system could cost a lot of money. You're going to always have fill, but not to the extent where you would have it in that particular location. The other part is it's going to definitely need advanced treatment, Turner technology advanced treatment, which means it cleans that sewage to a level that's safer for groundwater. And in that case, you're still going to need a building. So there's a lot more to discuss. But the additional groundwater testing is to see if we can have the other area, which would give us a lot more and a lot less expensive.
Okay, and I'm sorry I don't have a lot of familiarity with this, but is the end game that the town would build this system or that the property owners would share in the cost of the system?
That's all still in conversation, but most of the times when you're doing something like this, there's these packaged plants in other towns, smaller towns. And what usually happens is the people that are using them are the ones who are buying into the system. But there is a town component to it, whether it is that we have things involved in it. But when you're doing, and please, I'm saying this word and I don't mean it, sewer, it's not actually sewer, but they call it that way. And what they call a sewer district. And in that case, you can use the owners that are involved in the project, and they'll be the ones. Again, I'm only speaking from what we've been talking about, nothing's set in stone, but most likely those would be the people that will be paying into the system.
I think when we started talking about this maybe 2 years ago or so, the town, we came to the conclusion that we needed to initiate this study to have an understanding of what we need. But I think there was always an understanding or a belief with the merchants that they would be involved in the cost of whatever the improvements would be. So I don't know if it's written in a contract, but it was never like the town was going to pay for everything. But we took the responsibility of creating the study. Because the whole thing that was identified was they were constantly having to pump out their whatever word you want to use.
Yeah, pump out systems,
septic tank, and that's not right. I mean, it's actually wrong.
4 to 5 times a week, and sometimes when it's heavy rainfall, and that's about $3,000-4,000.
So this is we're sort of in the middle of this in a way.
Yes.
Would their participation be voluntary or would they have to contribute because of public health risk?
So I just reached out to John from the economic development. We definitely need to talk to all the property owners. Most of them do know it though. One of them actually owns almost like 6 or 7 of the properties and he knows about what's going on. I think I've spoken to almost every property owner or business owner in that area, up to a point like where Cilantro's is and then down. That's really where the area that we're considering. They know that there's issues. It is very expensive to pump out these systems. Have we formally talked to them? No, I don't.
They've been paying the pump out
Yes.
so far? Okay.
Yes,
So whatever this change would be is in lieu of having to deal with the frequent pump outs.
correct.
If the 68,000 is an additional expenditure, what was the underlying?
I believe it was about 80 to 90,000.
Okay.
And I don't know, MJ, are you on the call there? Yeah. Where do we know where the 68,000 is going to come from?
No, I do not.
You do not.
I do not know.
MJ, are you there?
I am. We have money set aside in committed fund balance for such issues.
I thought that, but I'm not the finance director, so I wanted to hear you say. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let me just make sure. Everyone on the board, questions exhausted? Okay. Thanks very much.
And if you ever have any questions, you can always call my office. I do have the report and we can go
I
through.
guess I do have one. If this moves forward, when would this study start? There's dates in here about April and
It's already going on. So we have those monitoring wells already and back there, and those are continuously monitoring as we speak.
Okay.
And we are still doing our testing from the prior study. So this is just a continuation. The wells will be installed in the next month or 2.
When do you think we'd have some idea of what needs to be done? Is that years in the future?
No. We should be able to get a capacity at some point, maybe beginning of end of summer. We should be able to get capacity. Right now, there is an idea of what's going on. Now we just need to pinpoint and see how much we can actually get in there. Right.
We just, oh, you all set?
Yep.
Sorry, we can't quite let you go. You've mentioned nitrogen a couple of times. I mean, we're a shoreline community. Why does nitrogen matter so much?
That's absolutely. So from here to Old Lyme, or most of Old Lyme, but definitely Old Saybrook, we're all under consent orders for nitrogen loading into the sound. I've worked in Westbrook, Old Saybrook, Clinton, and almost every one of us have an issue with our town centers, to tell you the truth. So right now, we are under orders, but that means consent orders. So we work on our wastewater facility plan. Part of what you guys approved last budget, 2 budget seasons ago, I believe, was a WPCA test. Part of our orders is the 13 parameters that we're supposed to adhere to in that wastewater facility plan. And part of that is the pump outs, which we have definitely gotten under control. Part of the escrow accounts, and there's like 10 other ones. We have to protect our shellfish beds. That's a big one, and our bathing areas. I'm also been chosen to be on a sewage discussion group at the state, talking about the regulations for AT over 10,000 or 7,500 gallons per day to 10,000 gallons per day. So this discussion about the regulations in general between systems is going on right now, and we are heavily involved in those because we do need help in these areas that are under consent orders for nitrogen, and we need help from engineering as well as funding. And funding can be accessed through clean water funds, which is something that is available to those towns that are under consent orders. Sorry, I talk a lot about sewage.
Yeah, that's all right.
No, it's good that you know.
Anybody else? Okay, thanks so much.
No problem. Thanks, Dave.
Can I get a motion approved?
I'll make the motion.
This is,
Discussion?
this is.
Well,
I'm excited about signature. I mean, I'm excited that we're just finally getting to this because it's been a worry.
The use has been obviously significantly more intense recently as a result of very successful economic development in this area. It's the center of our town. I mean, I think it's critical to get ahead of this. And this nitrogen problem, it's not sort of just like kind of a wanna deal with problem. We're staring down pressure from the state. And at some point, we don't want to lose control of our opportunity to manage it locally. And thank you, Sonia, for handling all that. So I think this is really important. All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Thank you. Okay. Next, item 7, consider and take possible action to renew an agricultural license to Michael Casanova, Roosters LLC for haying 6.5 acre field on the Potter parcel for an additional 5 years. Kevin, thank you.
Morning.
Love this topic.
Yep.
We're an agricultural community.
Yes. So last year went out to RFPs for a licensee for the property. We had one, which is Michael Casanova. That contract was drawn up as a 1-year contract renewable for additional 5 years at the town's discretion there. That commission's reviewed his activity for the past year and would like to renew him for the additional 5 years instead of going 1-year intervals with him. He's did a good job in the field last year, they found, treated it well. And they want to, they find that having 1-year interval steps there with this property makes it harder for a farmer to do a long-term commitment on the properties. Why would you want to spend to fertilize the field when you might not have it the next year? So they feel this just giving them the full 5 years instead of these little renewable options would provide the best option for the maintenance of the field. The contract we have has outs in it anyways if the farmer does not do his required necessary steps or does something which is against the license agreement. We have a full out within the license agreement there to cover any problems that may develop if anything does develop, should I say.
How long has this relationship with this particular?
1 year. We've just been with them 1 year.
Okay. And before that, how long was the previous steward?
Previous contracts have been 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
This one partly we did 1 year because of the last one didn't really come back on because the field has a tendency of
depending on the weather, it gets wet and it's hard to maintain. So this licensee seems not to have an issue with that. It has equipment which I guess has different types of tires which can maneuver different types of terrain in terms of wet versus dry. And they said if it does run into an issue with them, we do have the out clauses within the contract there with notifying, I think it's 90-day or some, I don't have it, I'll pull it out here, but there's a number of day notification that we can provide if there is an issue on the property.
So really the money changing hands is nominal, but what we get is someone maintaining this parcel,
Correct.
operating it as a hayfield.
As a hayfield, maintaining agricultural in Guilford there. Like I said, the nominal fee, I think this one's was yeah, $1 an acre.
We're tempted to up it to $9.75 just so we can say revenue's up 50% on this contract. But I was curious about something. The only big thought that really came to mind is, Mr. Casanova seems to do a fine job historically. Is somebody else also interested in haying this field? And, are we locking it down for 5 years and sort of locking anybody else out of that opportunity?
This was an odd rarity this time because most of our contracts have been 5 years. This one here, I think, like I said, knowing the past history of the problem being wet there, we wanted to make sure the person was really able to handle it the first year before we really took them on for additional years there. The property itself is unique. Actually, as I indicated before, he was the only one that bid on the property there. It's a hard property to get into. The town has a right of way over a neighbor's property to get into this piece of the legal right of way. And there's a bridge structure on this common right of way driveway, which is very narrow and hard to get hay equipment in there. Mr. Casanova, during the contract period, was able to gain permission to contract with adjacent properties off of Elm Street there. So he has better access to the property. And the commission felt like since he's maintaining the other pieces, this one also falls into place that provides a better piece for the town of Guilford, a better partnership with the town of Guilford, having him also maintaining another piece next door to it. There's a bigger commitment to this piece of property. And as I indicated, nobody else up there was interested of the farmers up north there was interested in taking on this piece. So he was the only one last time around to bid on it there. And I really don't hear of anybody really asking me about the fields up there, so I don't see anybody else really jumping up and down to take this one on.
And then the access issue makes them particularly suited.
Correct.
That field.
Correct. I think that's really one of our bigger issues with this property is the access and the bridge with getting over that.
Okay. Someone mentioned to me that the lacrosse team practiced there once in a while.
Different field.
Oh, it's a different field. Okay.
We have two fields on County Road. This is the field, if you know where the Outdoor Education Center is, up on County Road.
Yeah.
It's at the beginning of County Road. Across the street from that is where the field is. It's kind of just up and across the street from that. Tucked back in there. It's adjacent to some land trust property and private agricultural properties from other people. Town picked up this piece as sort of a big neighborhood agreement and fundraising thing to purchase this property 15, 20 years ago there. And obtained and worked with the land trust. So that land trust actually has an easement on top of us as part of that purchase agreement there. And so they kind of also oversee making sure we follow the deed requirements that we picked up when we bought the property. And then the other piece which you're talking about, which lacrosse was playing on, is further up the road at the corner of West Street and County Road, where they had some practice, where they do have early practice there. There is a conflict with them and the agricultural activities in there. This past year really came out to be seen is that the time they need to practice so they don't destroy the other fields, which was discussed earlier, is the same time that the farmers come up and fertilize the fields. And they use manure and stuff like that to fertilize the field. So there's like, really, it's not working out well there. There's a nice conflict going on there. Even though um, they do have the rights there, but the agricultural activities and them are merging at this point in time there. Just to let you know, also, I'm not sure if you're aware, the town also maintains a total of 5 agricultural licenses that we maintain in town. We have 2 at the Northern Heights property with the Durham Guilford line off of Crooked Hill Road. In the Northern Heights subdivision, we have an area for grazing cattle up there, about 35 acres. And another field up there, which the whole property is about 90 acres. There's another area which is about 35 acres for hay operations also. Then there's some woodlands areas mixed in with those areas there. And then we have another piece, about 7-acre piece on Tanner Marsh Road, which is also licensed out, the old Dudley Farm, which we're calling it Hillcrest Farm there, just by the highway. That's licensed out to a farmer out of Westbrook, which maintains that field also for us. So we have 5 fields there. The ones, Northern Heights are our bigger revenue generators, if you want to call it there. Those we're getting about
$11-12 maybe.
Oh no, we're getting
That's good.
agricultural. I think we're getting about $50 an acre on it. And then we just went up to bid last year for it. It's the contracts are coming into licenses are coming into place for the grazing area. I think that was over 50. I almost think it's about $80 an acre for the grazing piece up there. So it's maintains the property there. It's not a big source, but it does maintain the property. And then if we do need to do some repairs, something like that, it does go into the open space fund where funding could be available for. And my understanding, funding could be available for repairs on the open space people properties from that fund there. So we, like I said, this is one of 5 that we're now taking care of for ag in town here.
Got it.
Like I said, it's cost us more. It's $5. That one $6.50. It's not costing us time for our staff or us paying somebody $2,000 or something like that to go hay these fields or brush cut, hog these fields or something like that to maintain them as a field. So it's a balance that we're maintaining there with their assistance there and helping ag stay viable in town of Guilford.
Anybody else? Good. Do we have a motion yet?
I'll make motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
All in favor of the motion to approve the 5-year term of this contract?
5 additional years on that one, correct?
5 additional years.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? No. Good to go. Thanks. Brings us to 8.1. Discuss and take possible action to reappoint Amy Sullivan to the Board of Fire Commissioners for a term to expire October 16, 2029. Can we get a motion?
I'd like to make the motion.
Motion to table this.
I just made a motion to approve it.
I was going to second the motion to approve it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. We can certainly consider a second motion to table.
We discussed it.
Yeah, I have a problem with this.
If you're gonna make a motion, you need to. We can table a motion that's on the table, but we need a
Oh,
second.
okay. I understand.
Does anyone want to second the motion to table? No? Okay, so we're moving forward with the motion to approve. Questions, comments?
Yeah, I definitely have some comments. We actually have a nominee for the fire commission, and his application was actually filled out much earlier. Ms. Sullivan was contacted by the Guilford Republican Town Committee on 3 occasions asking if she wanted to be reappointed, and she never responded. So we went out, found a very qualified candidate, Mr. Riley, and we submitted his application for nomination at our town committee. It was voted on and approved, and he was nominated. And then we emailed the Board of Selectmen on 2 occasions that we had submitted him to be on the agenda. And he's not even on the agenda.
You mean you emailed the office, because we didn't get it. It didn't come to us. It traditionally would go from the nominating chair to the office.
So I have the email, and it was addressed to Matt Hoey, Sue Renner, Lou Federico, and Sandy Roth. It was dated December 30th, 2:51 p.m. Bottom of the
2 days
email,
ago, right,
said there's
yes.
two new GRTC
I didn't get
applications.
that.
I happened to also not get it. There were some
Well, we've had issues with our emails too.
updates
Yeah.
going on down at IC.
December 31st, I
Oh.
also copied the board on a message to Brendan explaining that I didn't understand how Mrs. Sullivan ended up on the agenda, and that these candidates, Richard DiNardo and Mr. Riley, should be on the agenda. So there's also an email on the 30th from our nominating committee chair, Deb Demusi, saying that she's attaching the application for Rich DiNardo to be on the commission.
Was that to us as well?
Yes,
I promise you, I did not get
No,
it.
I believe you. I believe you. I mean,
Sidewalk.
you know what, I probably should have brought it up at the public forum because it was on the agenda.
This is as good a time as any, so.
Okay, so he's right. She was contacted. Amy Sullivan was up in, I believe, the end of September.
October.
So it's been a while.
She said she wasn't contacted.
She was contacted 3 times, not by me, because someone from the board, our RTC committee, said that they would take care of contacting her. So she, I was told she was contacted. Let me just, I want to see when her term was up first.
I believe it's October 24th.
So her term was up on 10/16/25.
Okay.
10/16/25. So after 10/16/25, she was contacted 3 times to see if you want to continue and had not responded. So we did take it upon ourselves to find another applicant. And I did not put her on the agenda or contact you or contact Brendan to reappoint her because she never contacted anyone from the RTC. So we went ahead and decided that we would submit a new applicant who has an incredible resume.
Great.
And then we noticed she was on the agenda, and I asked John if he put her on. He said no. He asked me if I put her on. I said no. So I don't know how she got on the agenda.
But
So-
we have her application here. People can just come forward on their.
Yes, you're
So-
absolutely
And
right.
Her application is dated 12/31/25.
Okay, but no one said that to me. Usually I am notified. I was not notified.
So I guess I have a couple thoughts on this, Jonathan. So it sounds like no one spoke to Ms. Sullivan. So to sort of reverse she was contacted, no one contacted her.
Do you know
Like
who
affirmatively.
reached out to her 3 times?
I reached out to her
By
3
email.
times, by phone.
By phone?
I have a phone number on the website.
On the fire commission, that number.
There's a phone number listed on the website.
Isn't she a member of the Republican Party?
She's a
Is she
member.
of the caucus?
No,
No.
no,
She's not a member of the town committee.
No.
But she's a registered Republican, isn't she?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, not a member of the town
Yes,
committee though.
yes,
Yes.
So you tried to call her?
3 times.
Well,
So do you want the number on here? Because it's the number that I'm sure is on.
I mean,
Site.
my sense is the reappointment. She is able to do what she did here, which is reapply herself essentially. The question would have been better directed to Matt rather than Brendan. Why something is on an agenda. It's Matt's prerogative to set an agenda.
Matt did question me.
Okay.
And I sent him a thread and I sent him, do you have that email?
Yes, from January 1st.
Matt actually questioned me about Kevin Riley.
Okay.
So I don't know if you want to table it and talk to him, but let me see if I could get it up on my.
So we got some. Thanks, Deb.
I have the email here.
I'm not,
And you were all on that
Didn't
thread.
get any one of them.
yeah, we've had a problem with our selectmen emails since there was a migration of some kind.
Okay, well, we wouldn't know that.
No, of course not. No, of course you wouldn't. And you probably use my own, my personal email.
I know.
You copied me on on one of these recent ones that I did get.
Oh,
I'm just puzzled about. the
oh,
email.
I thought I usually use your government, under
Yeah.
government.
Emails,
The town email is the best way.
It
Yeah.
is the best way, but we haven't been but so let's take a step back though, and
Yeah.
we have someone who's been serving on a commission, wants to continue to serve, has done a good job. Normally, if that person wants to continue to serve, it's in the best interest of the town, which is our primary concern, to leave that person in her seat. So we have that. Then we have a miscommunication where I did speak to her about this because I asked her when I saw the email saying that she didn't respond. I was surprised because that's not like her. And she said, no one reached out to her. So for whatever reason, there was a miscommunication, but I'm not sure if that's relevant to what we're trying to do, which is make sure that seat remains filled.
You know, in our previous meetings, we had discussions about waiting for applicants and not necessarily taking them in the order they were received. This person, Amy, I'm sorry, but she didn't contact our town committee, so she's not our endorsed nominee. Our endorsed nominee is very experienced firefighter. He's got unbelievable experience with public safety, and that's our nominee. And I think that this board wants to get the best people on these commissions, and that's who we're nominating. You know, I can't support a nomination that didn't go through our town committee.
Okay. We nonetheless have a motion on the table here.
This is just
For
a question.
Amy
The
Sullivan.
current chair of the Board of Commissioners is Ken Wilson, is that correct?
Ken's the current chair.
No, yes, and he did have 2 full terms, and I think that when we try to put someone in, he's always reinstated, so he's on his 3rd term. He took some time off and he's on his, beginning his 12 years.
Well, you can come, I think people can leave and come back.
But they're supposed to leave for a certain length of time, I don't know, a year or something, and that was done politically, I believe, so I'm just gonna put that out there.
3rd term, huh?
That's not
Well,
unprecedented.
You can leave.
No, yes, I understand there's situations, but
It wasn't the full year between.
right. But I do want to say that on 12/31/25, Matt emailed me and said, Deb, thank you. Did we miss an application for Kevin Riley for the Fire Commission? Thanks, Matt. And then I wrote him back and said, thank you for reaching out and asking. Yes, the RTC voted on December 11th, 2025 to place Richard DiNardo and Kevin Riley respectively on the Marina Commission and the Fire Commission. I've attached Kevin Riley's application for the Fire Commission. Kevin's credentials make him incredibly qualified for the position. Amy Sullivan was previously contacted regarding her position on the Fire Commission and did not return our call. We have decided to proceed with Kevin Riley's placement. So that's what I answered to him. By the way, I don't know why it did pick up my personal email. So I have your Gmail, Lou's government, Sue's, Sandy's government, and of course Matt's.
I don't use my government one, but things that come through the government usually come to my other one. So I'll give you my other one because
Okay,
for 8 years
yeah.
I've been getting notifications on my regular one. So
I
Okay.
think we need to use our town for.
I would think that would be appropriate.
Definitely preferable to send everything through the
But-
town emails.
Yeah.
I guess I have a thought here. It sounds like there's concern that no one had a chance from the town committee, no one had a chance to speak with Amy. But she's obviously interested in this position. She is a registered Republican. If someone had spoken to her and she said she would interested in reapplying, I mean, it's a little bit hypothetical, but are you telling me she would have been rejected? You would have turned down an existing
I can't
Republican
speak
from
for the town committee. She would have been presented to the town committee and they would have voted on the reappointment.
right?
But at this point, without, addressing the town committee, we've chosen a different nominee.
Okay, I understand. So bad communication is, at least a three-part process. It's either on the people who are sending it, the people that are receiving it, or some failure in the middle. And as evidenced by this discussion here today, we've all dealt, at least the people on this board have dealt with a little bit of an IT changeover. Not that it wouldn't necessarily matter, because to a certain extent, Ms. Sullivan got her application in. And again, unless I'm hearing some objection to her sitting rather than a preference for someone else who very well may be super qualified and could be the next person up, I don't hear any objection to her other than there was a failure to contact and speak with her.
My objection is also that Mr. Riley was not put on the agenda, which I don't understand. It looks like the application for Amy came in on the 31st. Kevin Riley filled out his application on 11/19.
But when
It
was
sounded like it was
it?
acted
But
until
it wasn't,
December
it
11th.
wasn't submitted, and it wasn't submitted, I don't think. Even, I mean, you're right on the date he filled it out. He filled it out before hers. But I don't know if it was submitted before hers.
Doesn't sound like it was until December
No.
11th or so.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it came right in then.
Yeah,
It being December, I'm
right,
not sure what would have happened.
yeah.
Well, it looks like Mr. DiNardo's was submitted on the 30th, but there was, unfortunately, Mr. Riley's application was not submitted on the 30th.
Right,
When Matt asked about it, you
Right.
sent your email on the 1st
right,
explaining that,
Right.
yes, he was also nominated
right,
in
right.
his
Because
application.
at that point, I was so confused.
So I would just sort of say as a procedural matter, questions regarding from anyone on this board or anyone in the community, questions regarding agenda items need to go through Matt. He's the executive officer for the town, sets the agendas. Contacting staff is not productive, not likely to make things clearer. It's likely to make them more confused. So Matt would have been.
All the emails that were sent to Brendan were also copied to First Selectman.
Yeah, and I gather there was some response from Matt to Deb on the topic, just based on the input we've gotten here today. Matt reached out and said, what's the situation with Amy? If I heard that.
No,
correct.
no, he said, what's the situation with Kevin Riley?
What's the situation? Right. So there was my point is Matt's the person to
Right.
discuss it.
Right.
Got his number. Phone calls kind of can be a little bit better than emails based
Right.
on this conversation.
So obviously, my motion to table would be to give Mr. Riley an opportunity to be on the agenda as well.
Right. But what we have is a motion to appoint Amy right now, so. Does anybody else have any further, Jonathan, any further comments or questions on the current motion, which is before us?
I don't think it's fair to Mr. Riley.
Oh,
Fair enough.
And I made the motion and I support Mrs. Sullivan, but I don't want to have some procedural thing involving emails where somebody doesn't have an opportunity. I don't want that to happen. That's not right. So I don't know what to say.
Okay.
and I think,
Well, and I can point this out. A tied motion means the motion would fail. So I'm going to call the vote. I'm hearing what you're saying. And that would leave us with an opportunity perhaps for everybody else to go, you vote your conscience, Sue.
What was the actual date of the submission of Mr. Riley's application?
well, to us, it's not to us, it's to you.
Selectmen
Yeah.
Or to you, it was January 1st.
What, January 1st?
I'm-
That can't be right.
after the agenda.
No, it was January 1st.
So that's the day.
I'm pretty, yeah, it was, because Matt emailed me on the 31st. He was working on New Year's Eve. Hang on, let me get the dates.
That's actually too late for it to go on. the
Yeah,
agenda.
because that was Thursday.
Yeah,
It was a holiday, so it's Friday.
jeez.
So sadly, originally we put Mr. DiNardo emailed about his.
No, but I sent his,
Application on the
I sent his in December 12th, and he's still not on here.
Oh, okay, that came.
No, I looked it up. I sent it to
Maria.
Brendan December 12th, and let's see if you all were on there.
Is that open
Did we
now?
also have Kevin sent in, Mr. Riley sent in on the 12th?
No, no.
2 weeks ago, we tabled the lot came from the DTC because we felt they were too far, too early. And I seem to remember there was somebody for the Harbor Commission then, but I might get mixed up between the harbor and the marina. So when is that opening for the one for the
There's always been an opening on the marina. We
oh,
weren't waiting for an opening. There's a vacancy.
there's a vacancy. Okay.
We put in another search because,
I'll get my own email straightened out, but
That's not
for 8
there,
years
somebody-
I've been getting email either
Right,
way,
right.
and I just looked in my
Yeah.
trash and I don't have the town email anywhere, so I'm not even getting it.
The last time I received a town email was December 1st, and I didn't notice this until
Yeah.
last week.
Well, I did send it to the Guilford emails in, in good faith. I didn't know it was not
Of course you
working.
did. No, that
I'm gonna follow
totally
up
makes
as soon
sense.
as the meeting's over.
Yeah, this is
But I've been, again,
miscommunication all around.
for 8 years, I've gotten all the other emails that, anyway.
my gosh. Oh, here it is. Okay. So. So on the 30th, I resubmitted, Rich DiNardo. On the 31st, Matt asked me about Kevin Riley. And then on January 1st, I sent him Kevin Riley's. So that is the timeline. But then he never responded.
He's on vacation.
Oh, okay.
In Colorado.
And the
Yeah,
agenda was,
Texas
In
and
the
then
powder.
Colorado.
yeah, and that was
In the
after
powder.
the deadline for the agenda too. So that
Right.
was probably the reason it wouldn't have been on the agenda anyways, I guess.
Right. And then I said, please review the thread.
And you sent that to
Oh.
Matt?
I sent that to Matt.
Okay.
And then I also said to Brendan, please review the thread, especially the email from 12/31/26 and 1/1/2020, 25 it should have been, and then 1/1/2026. Please see if an update is needed to the agenda for Monday, 1/5/2026 Ray Fire Commission. And I didn't hear anything. So that is the timeline.
Okay, so a procedural will come up all the way around. A lot of poor
Yeah.
communication.
And Matt probably wasn't here on Friday to approve the additions to the agenda, if it was gonna be.
Right.
Sure.
Or this
And
morning,
Matt would be, to reiterate my point,
right.
Matt would be the one to address those issues, not Brendan.
Well, I support Amy Sullivan as well, but I'm willing to table this because of the situation with
Yeah,
what we just discussed for
I
15
agree.
minutes.
So what we would do then
Can you
is we
withdraw
need a
your motion?
motion to withdraw.
Make a motion to withdraw
We
my
need a
motion.
second.
And I'll second the withdrawal, because I was
Okay.
the second on it.
So with all that,
Motion to table.
very good. Do we have a second for that?
I'll second that.
Fair enough. This is a motion to table Mrs. Sullivan's application for reappointment to the fire commission. Okay? Any
And just as
further
a little
discussion?
housekeeping detail, I recognize that the RTC nominating committee didn't endorse her, but as a Republican, and this is a Republican opening, she has a right to submit an application whether she's endorsed by the nominating committee or not. Is that correct?
I agree. I can't support the nomination because the town committee has not, but
Right.
she has the right to go straight.
Okay, just wanted to be sure on that.
Okay, which is a question we will address at the next meeting, if this motion to table passes. Any further discussion on the motion from the board? Okay, all in favor of the motion to table? I'll
Aye.
vote for that as well. Okay, well, that was exciting. Request for use of town property. We have a request for the use of the green from the VFW for God and Country Festival. An elaborate, not particularly elaborate, but a detailed statement from Mr. Maynard. Apparently is running the event. Have a motion to approve that.
I
Question.
had a couple of questions on it.
Can we get a motion
I'm
first?
sorry,
Yes, so moved.
I'll second it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the title I'm worried about, but I guess we've had something for 13 or 14 years in the summer called the Jewish Festival, and we're
Sure.
not worried about that, and it's open to everyone. And this is called God and Country, and it's open to everyone. So I just wanted to discuss it and make sure that we're
I think the
Doing the right
various
thing.
churches use the green
for Palm
Easter,
Sunday.
Palm
Right.
Sunday, Palm
Yeah,
Sunday probably more than
yeah.
Easter. I'm, without having any particular specifics, I'm pretty certain there's been some religious overtones to other events run by local
Right.
Mhm.
501c3s here
I'm just,
as well. I mean, it seems consistent with uses we've seen,
Yeah.
to my recollection.
It's not a town event, it's a private
right,
group.
right. I'm just trying, oh, and this was just, I couldn't read his writing, and on the dates of event, it says 9/12. And then it says 9/13, and I don't know what that parentheses,
It's
is
gotta
that,
be a rain date.
is that a rain date? It looks like it says wastewater, but it can't say wastewater, I just can't read it. It's just a 1 day event, right? And he's just listed the 13th in case it rains on the 12th.
It says.
It actually looks like some wedding. Come on.
That was how I read it, that was the rain date.
You read it as the rain date?
Right.
That first word's gotta be rain, but I don't know why the next letter starts with a W, but, okay. As long as it's a 1 day event, I mean, I would sort of make sure we're voting on a 1 day event, either the 12th or the
But he's,
13th,
we're
otherwise they
gonna,
gotta
I mean, both
resubmit.
days are gonna be held for this, because in case it rains on the 12th, he's gonna have it on. I mean, it's okay, I'm just making sure that we understand this.
Fair enough. And Brendan, presumably keeper of the calendar, do you know those days are open?
They are.
Okay. All right. Did we get a motion?
Yes.
So
Okay.
just curious, I mean, I thought all events would be open to any kind of religious, peaceful religious event, of course, right?
Yeah.
I think so,
That's
yes.
pretty much exactly what I
Okay.
said.
My only concern would be, if there was like a conflict, if there was two events on the green at the same time.
Right, that's what I just asked.
I don't, oh, sorry. I
Well,
did not
he's
even
only-
hear you say that.
He's the
I
keeper
was,
of the calendar.
There
Okay.
could, I guess there could potentially be, because he's only asking for 3 sections of the green, so technically. I mean, it's
Right, it's available for this use and those sections for right
Right.
now. Somebody else applies for that date and they want to use some other corner of the green.
Yeah.
We'll worry about that in future. Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments? There's also a tie-in, apparently it's 25th anniversary of 9/11, hard to
Yeah.
believe. Okay. All in favor of the motion to approve this use of the green?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstentions? No. All right, committee reports, anyone? Everybody always looks at Sandy. Sorry,
Yeah, I know.
thank you. Busy bee.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any committee reports that they're working on? No, correspondence?
I have several correspondents, of course. And one of the key correspondences, Matt had asked me last meeting to send him an email regarding why I'd like to see our police commissioners be put on the agenda. So I'm wondering if you are receiving this email that was sent on December 30th.
So these are correspondence from you?
These are correspondence from me,
To the rest
this
of the
particular
board.
one,
Well, I'll say.
addressed to Matt Hoey and the board on his direction.
So let me, if I can comment.
Yeah.
No, we didn't get, those of us who
Quick
had
answer
in
is
trouble
no.
with the email did not get it.
No, I didn't
However,
get it.
I don't think that's the purpose of the communication section of the agenda. I mean, if you've communicated that to the other board members, we know about it. I think the communications section, correct me if I'm wrong, is meant for if somebody from the public were to contact just me about something and I thought it warranted.
That's the way
Bringing it
it's
up.
traditionally been.
And then at that point, it's not on the agenda for discussion. It still needs to be added in order to have any kind of a meaningful discussion, because now you have a situation where it wasn't on the agenda. Under FOI, it has to be. Other people have to have an opportunity to come and comment. So the communication section, it's not a way for people to just get stuff into the conversation. It's meant for a communication that we need to notify each other.
I'm not sure if I agree with that interpretation. I think it's important when citizens reach out to the Board of Selectmen for us to recognize their correspondence and to comment on it.
Yeah, precisely.
So,
So, members of the community.
We go-
And old business is the next agenda item. So if you as a member of the board want to bring up old business, you just bring it up in 30 seconds.
well, this particular correspondence is an important piece of correspondence for me. I mean, I have
And
2 applicants for the police commission since April of
all right, let's just for
2025.
the sake of making the point we're making, let's just sort of close off correspondence. We don't have any external correspondence, and we'll go to new old business, which you have raised.
But we
this
do,
point
we do have external correspondence. We have course, correspondence from Mr. Holman. He sent us an email about
David Wayne?
Bill 88 HB 8002, the Affordable Housing Bill, with concerns that that might jeopardize local control. He also sent us an email about the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's investigations into corporate DEI programs and how that may affect any of our hiring practices. And then he sent a very important letter to me where he's very frustrated because I can't even believe this. I feel like I'm living in an Orwellian nightmare. But the Courier has banned him from writing letters to the editor, which I believe is repugnant. As far as freedom of speech, people may not agree with each other, but this is how we communicate and we debate in our society. We send letters to our Board of Selectmen. We send letters to our local paper, and I'm really disgusted that to see what's going on at the Courier, that they would actually tell someone they're not allowed to send a letter to the editor.
That goes back quite a ways, as I remember, but it's certainly an issue of concern, and I understand it. Is there an action point that you would suggest for this board?
No, I just want the board to recognize that it receives correspondence from local citizens.
I have quite literally dozens, if not hundreds, of emails from Mr. Holman.
I will say Mr. Holman sends a larger
So
amount
to
of
the extent that-
correspondence
to
to
the
the
extent
Board of
that the-
Selectmen, in all fairness.
The extent that the complaint seems to be that he's not being heard, he's
And I'm
being
not
well
saying
heard.
that we need to read out every item or have extended discussion just to recognize that it's been sent. And
I thought that the affordable housing question, we addressed this at the Affordable Housing Commission, which is taped. And I thought we also addressed it at one of these meetings recently, saying that there are legitimate questions arising from that bill that passed, and it's a complicated bill, and that the CCM, Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, which is not a partisan organization that Guilford and many other towns belong to, is doing what they pay to belong. They're doing a study of this bill to try to answer questions to not just Guilford, but to many towns that have questions about, like, for instance, I know in Mr. Holman's letter, he said that it was going to be 20% of that it said 20% of the housing had to be affordable, which is not. It's 10%. So I mean, that's just one thing. And it's very fair to ask about this bill because it's complicated.
And it affects the town.
I think at the moment, Matt suggested or discussed, and we think all agreed, we didn't necessarily vote on it, but that we are interested to know about this bill, but we're going to let these people at CCM digest it, and then we can digest it from there. So that is an answer to his point on that. I don't know about.
Yes.
Nothing. I didn't see anything about the DEI one. I don't know anything about that one.
yeah, and I'm not necessarily saying you have to agree with a particular citizen who writes a letter. I just wanted to recognize.
I didn't
that it
even
was
see
sent.
the concern
So,
about it.
so as I understand the DEI objection, there's an objection to having diversity in hiring practices.
Yeah, I
And,
think
and an objection to having inclusive hiring practices.
it was a little time consuming to go through it. He referenced an article, and they're doing investigations of corporate DEI.
I want to understand the
programs.
underlying concern.
Yeah, the bottom line is, are we being discriminatory in any of our hiring practices? And
Right.
it would be important not to do that. I'm
So
sure we
diversity
do
for
not
its
want
own
to do
sake
that.
is objectionable in some way.
I'm sorry, what?
Diversity in some way is objectionable.
If it's discriminatory,
Right,
yes,
okay.
against anyone by race, sex, or color.
Okay.
As I understand the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's position.
And trying to have inclusive membership on town organizations or employment purposes or the general community. That's an objectionable position that Mr. Holman has. I've heard
If
from
it's
this communication.
discriminatory, according to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission,
So federal rules.
it might make you under investigation of criminal conduct. So yes, that would be objectionable if it was discriminatory.
Right. So rules that have been in place since the 1960s, too, by the thinking of people at that point to end discrimination, are now sort of being viewed in an opposite perspective, which is simply advancing people so that there's diversity of speech and inclusivity of community members. That's objectionable and could bring, by this analysis, under some under some
If it's
investigation.
discriminatory against a certain group, yeah.
Okay. But if there's good reasons not to have people, the people can act on good conscience.
Like
and
a
exclude them.
program, like for instance, there is a program that's under investigation by the DOJ, I believe, in Rhode Island. And what they were offering was student loan forgiveness, but only for colored. And that is discriminatory in the sense that you would need to offer that to all people. It's just kind of common sense. So, we don't want to do anything like that.
So my view of these kind of things, people who want to submit communications along those lines, we should absolutely accept them. And we can all process those communications in the normal course. And whether it's on the agenda or not is a multi-step process, as we've been through here extensively today, if not before today. All right. All right. I'm sorry. Got anything else?
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. So that was old business. Any new business?
So I guess the new business would be that we have submitted Rich DiNardo to be added to the agenda,
I would
and Kevin Riley.
That's not the
One
case.
for
That you would want to do that. And the answer to solving this is either your appointments, getting the title wrong, nominations chair, or some other appropriate officer of the town committee to get in touch with Matt directly and
Yeah,
discuss
and
the
they've done
agenda.
that through email, but there's a lot of confusion here about people not
I'm a
receiving.
big fan
emails.
on phone calls
I
when
just want to make sure that people realize that these people have been submitted and we'd like them to be added to the agenda.
I did have an old business.
Oh, okay.
A couple meetings ago, we had a request from an organization that wanted to serve a little wine at the community center as part of a service, and we allowed it last year. And I think I was the one who said, let's table it because we've had various requests for alcohol use, not just at the Park and Rec Community Center, but on the green and even occasionally at the library and maybe somewhere else. So I am concerned though for that group because it's April and we all said, oh, that's far out.
Yeah.
But if we deny them, they have to find another spot. And we said, I think I said to Matt or all of us, or Matt said it, we should form a casualty policy or something, and we haven't done that yet. So in the interests of I don't know how you all feel. I'm willing to bring back that request and vote on it today, even though I was the person who said let's table it. Because we did it last year, we know what it entails. It's not 16,000 people on the green.
Just to move on with that.
Just to move on that one, because we may not get this resolved in time. And
When was the event?
it's early April, but
They need a plan.
they need a plan if we're gonna say no.
Is that your prerogative, Lou, as chairman pro temp, to add something to the agenda?
And anybody can make a motion to add something to the agenda.
All right.
And Brendan, do you have that? When the exact dates of that event are?
Or we could add it in 2 weeks. I mean, I'd like to just get it resolved.
That feels a little bit better.
Is that a motion?
No,
No, it hasn't,
I'm not making a
Okay.
motion yet.
I just want to see what our time limits are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm looking for the application right now.
I think it was like April 12th or something.
So if we did wait 2 weeks, it
We
is,
could wait
April.
2
We could
weeks.
probably get it, but it's a
Yeah.
good thing to bring back.
Yeah. You all feel okay with that? I still think we need to have some guidelines, but I just feel that
I have a question about it though. If one group wants to serve alcohol, then wouldn't it only be fair and uniform that we allow others?
This is the
Well,
slippery slope.
we've
that
been,
we're under some
up
concern.
until now, we've been voting on them individually, but we all recognize that that may not be the way to go. And that's why we said we should have a discussion about it in its entirety, whether it's serving alcohol to 6,000 people at Wings and Strings or serving a tiny glass of wine to 30 people in the community center. So it made sense to me to table that, but now I'm just, and we did let them do it last year and there was absolutely no problem with it in the least. So
Now, I think I'm very new to this, but my opinion would be to keep a uniform process, just maybe to have some guidelines that you wouldn't serve it in a large amount. That
right, that's
That's
what
the
we're
idea.
talking about.
That's the
Yeah,
issue.
take
That's what we're
precautions
talking
with
about.
minors.
We are gonna discuss that, but we haven't. And so this particular group is suffering at the moment because we pushed it off, that's all. But I'm very happy to wait for 2 weeks. We just brought it up under old business. So.
Yep.
Got it.
And I only make that comment because I just would want all groups to
Yeah,
be treated the
I
same.
think we're all on the same page on this,
All right.
honestly.
Okay. Well, that was exciting, little business.
I think I'm gonna go out and have a glass of wine. So,
We should have already had touched on new business. Nobody else said anything there.
no,
And again, just for new business, that would be just a new member. I mean, obviously something that hasn't come up before that is of importance to the town. It feels appropriate to be addressed by this board, more than likely would find its way onto, some future meeting, but things can get addressed. And answer your question, who's ever chairing a meeting can entertain a motion put forth by any other member if it's seconded and approved. So anyway, that's that. So hearing nothing for new business, public forum, anyone else in town? On the, patient enough to wind their way through the meeting? Hello? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Thanks, none. Meeting's concluded.